The Lakers are a complete disaster. They got blown out by the Miami Heat by 40 points last night and a horrible loss for the Lakers. And honestly, over the past couple weeks, this Lakers team just hasn't really looked that great. And there's a lot of glaring issues, I feel like, with this Lakers team that I do want to talk about. The first thing I do quickly want to go over here is the box score of the Miami Heat and the LA Lakers game last night. And as you can see, a 40-point blowout loss for the Lakers. The first glaring issue to me is Anthony Davis with 8 points. I mean, that is just unacceptable in 30 minutes plus. You got to have more than 8 points as the superstar of this Lakers team. But one positive, I guess, for the Lakers is LeBron finally had an efficient scoring night. He scored 29 points on very solid efficiency, 12 of 18 from the field, and he also did finally hit a three-pointer. Still not great at only 1 for 4, but you like to see LeBron finally looking better. He was attacking more. He looked a lot more energized. I mean, did anybody else have a great game? Rui Hachimura, I guess, was decent for you, 14 points on good efficiency. But other than that, I mean, just a horrible shooting night for D'Angelo Russell. Also 1 for 4 from 3 like LeBron, but 5 of 13 from the field. You got no production out of Dalton Connect, and he's a rookie, so I'm not going to put too much blame on Connect. He's been great for the Lakers this season, but obviously didn't have a great game against the Miami Heat. And I really feel like this team is missing Austin Reeves. They need a guy that they can give the ball to who can be a knockdown shooter and another floor spacer and another playmaker alongside LeBron. And they're really missing that, I feel like, with Austin Reeves. You don't really get too much playmaking and ball creation from Dalton Connect, even though he is a lights out shooter. And then I think the next glaring issue for the Lakers is definitely their bench depth. I mean, if we look at bench points, we got Gabe Vincent scoring 4 points, who is a backup player for the Lakers, and he's been horrible this year. He also didn't really shoot that great. 3 of 11 from the field and 1 of 5 from 3. In total, the Lakers shot 22.7% from 3 and 42% from the field. I mean, that's just not going to cut it in an NBA game. A horrible shooting night. And then Max Christie gave you some okay production. Like, he did have 11 points, which was good, and he was very efficient. 50% from the field, 1 of 1 from 3, 2 of 2 from the free throw line. So Max Christie had a good game, and I think he's a solid backup player for this Lakers roster. But besides that, I mean, they got what? Cameron Reddish, 15 minutes, scoring 0 points, negative 16 plus minus. He was 0 for 3, 0 for 2. You just got absolutely zero production offensively from Cameron Reddish, I should say. And this is a huge, huge loss for the Lakers. Like, I'm honestly thinking of where do they go from here? They have to look to potentially trade some players, because even though I like JJ Redick's system offensively, and even though I think that they've looked better than they have in past years, this is still a Lakers team that is nowhere near competing and doesn't have the roster, I feel like, to compete. So maybe I'll talk about here in a second about some trade pieces I could see for the Lakers. If we take a look here at the Lakers schedule, they went on a really good run sort of at the start to mid-November. They were on a 6-game winning streak, and I was really positive about this Lakers team. I thought they were going to be real title contenders and kind of were on the uprise and really starting to impress me overall. But recently, you started this Orlando game. I mean, yeah, that was a very close game. Franz Wagner hit that game winner. AD missed 2 big free throws. Reeves missed a big free throw. LeBron missed big free throws. So that was a game they realistically could have won. And since then, it's just been a huge downfall for the Lakers. They lose a pretty much a blowout game to the Nuggets and the Suns in back-to-back games. You don't like to see that. But yes, against good opponents, like Orlando's good, Denver's good, Phoenix is good. So they've had to play some very solid opponents recently, so you have to cut them some sort of slack there. But they really didn't look good in any of those games besides Orlando. They do beat the Spurs, and the Spurs are competitive this year, so a good win there for the Lakers. They lose to Oklahoma City, and that was kind of a bad loss. I feel like the Lakers really should have won that game. LeBron was horrible in the fourth quarter. He had so many late game turnovers, and he was just on a horrible stretch in these kind of 5 games here we're talking about. They do beat Utah by 1 point, and realistically, guys, they should have lost that game against Utah. I watched pretty much that entire game, and Utah played better. And even at the end of the game, their coach called the timeout when Colin Sexton was driving by and potentially could have had that game-winning shot. They have a record now of only 12-10. And in the Western Conference, that's really not going to cut it. They are falling in the NBA standings. And then the last 2 games here, a horrible loss against Minnesota, just got completely blown out, and they didn't look like a good team at all. And then the game we just talked about, a 40-point loss to the Miami Heat. But honestly, guys, I mean, if we look at the standings right now in the NBA and we look at the Western Conference specifically, This Lakers team has fallen all the way now down to seed number 9. And they're only one game ahead of the Spurs. And Minnesota's not far behind, one game behind. Even the Sacramento Kings, if they start rallying together and start getting some big wins, this is a Lakers team that, in a deep Western Conference, I would not be shocked if they don't make the play-in, and that is a horrible result for this Lakers team. And to where you go from here, if you're the Los Angeles Lakers, I think it has to start with some trades. I don't think this is a good enough roster to compete in the West unless LeBron plays like a top 5 player and Anthony Davis also plays like a top 5 player. That's the only way that this team can work. And this is not 2020 anymore, where, yes, LeBron was a top 5 player, the best player in the world, and Anthony Davis was also top 5. If you get that from those two guys, then maybe you have a chance to compete with this roster. But LeBron doesn't look anywhere near top 10 anymore. Anthony Davis at the start of the season looked like top 5, but now he's sort of fallen off and is kind of looking like maybe a top 10, fringe top 10 player in the NBA. And if you don't have a great supporting cast alongside Anthony Davis and LeBron, this is a Lakers team that's going to really struggle this entire year. So for me, I think a couple trades they can make, and you guys can let me know what you think about these trades and what trades you want the Lakers to make if you are a Lakers fan. But I know this is a very obvious one that a lot of people have talked about on Twitter, but I think Walker Kessler would be a great trade for the Lakers. They need that backup center. Or what I think the Lakers should do personally is move Anthony Davis to the power forward position, put Walker Kessler at the 5, have LeBron at the 3, and you could have a starting lineup of, if you want to use Reeves in that point guard role and connect, you could go Reeves and connect in the backcourt. But the thing I worry about that also with the Lakers is they have no perimeter defense, especially with Vando being injured. Jared Vanderbilt, he looks like he's not going to be coming back until the new year. So you kind of want to also maybe go ahead and get a wing or perimeter defender. I think Cam Johnson potentially from the Nets would be a really good addition for them. I think the one trade they could potentially make is sending maybe Jackson Hayes and D'Angelo Russell and a first round pick to the Utah Jazz for like Walker Kessler and Colin Sexton. I wouldn't hate that trade. Sexton gives you more defense, and he's still got that kind of offensive scoring like D'Angelo Russell. And Walker Kessler, like I said, would either be a really good backup center for this Lakers team that have very little center depth, or they could start him at center, have Anthony Davis at power forward. And I think that personally is what I would do if I was the Los Angeles Lakers. But I mean, guys, they're a complete disaster. Where do you go here if you're the Lakers? I think it has to start with trades. I mean, they're just not going to play much better than this. They just look like a horrible basketball team. They're not great three-point shooters. They're not good defenders. But let me know in the comment section down below, especially if you guys are a Lakers fan, what do you think about this team? Because falling to 12-10, falling to the 9 seed in the West is not looking good. A horrible loss to the Miami Heat last night. And yeah, let me know what you guys think about this Lakers team. But for me, as sort of a Lakers fan and a LeBron fan, I'm starting to get very concerned about this team. But yeah, hopefully you guys did enjoy this video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.